How's everyone doing tonight? Um, this is one of many videos that I'm going to be putting out to show the hacks and mods that I've done to a lot of my vehicles over the years, things that I know bother other people, and these are my little repairs that I think will work to rectify the situation. Now, this is a slash. I'm going to try not to say every 2 words, but I have a tendency to do that a lot when I'm talking. This is a slash low center of gravity. I put a center diff setup in it with a Techno Driveshaft, and I had a lot of axle or driveshaft slap. I could not figure out a way to rectify the situation. It was just unbearable at high RPMs or high throttle. It would just vibrate the vehicle almost apart, and it even got as bad as to smack the motor. It moved, and that's about 5 or 6 millimeters that this thing would move around at high throttle. So my repair was I took a ZD Racing center diff mount and I installed it. You don't need to do any alterations to it. This is one I have here. I did Dremel a little bit off of it because when I did the dry fit, I thought I needed to. I did have an extra one, so when I did that, obviously I screwed it up. So you will not need to touch it at all. The way it comes out of the vehicle is the same way you're going to install it on the slash. The only alteration you have to do to the vehicle, other than drilling holes for this to mount to, is you have to remove the honeycomb in the center here. Let me get some light on here. So the honeycomb here, you will have to Dremel out. Just be careful. Just take a little bit out at a time. Don't go crazy. Don't I used a little all that crap in there. I used a little like rasper tool and just took a little bit out at a time, until it fit nice and tight. And then as far as hole placement goes, now your first hole, if you make your first hole in line with this thing right here, where the honeycomb is, if your first hole is right here on this side, so the closest to the motor, if you make it right directly, so here's the hole here, obviously it goes all the way down. It doesn't go all the way through. I thought I thought I could drill through, but this one obviously, I guess if you took the diff out and got a long enough bit, or the bearing out, and got a long enough bit, you could probably go through, but just make your hole, like I said, where this used to be would be where your first hole is. The second one does impede on the battery box a little bit, but you know what, for this repair and the headache that this was causing me, I do not care. I think this is an easy fix. I did have to Dremel a little bit of this out, and the only reason why I did that is because when I went with these bigger tires, I went with a smaller pinion. I had the 17 tooth pinion in here before, and it didn't need to be Dremeled out. So when I went with the 15th tooth, I had a 19th tooth pinion in here, and I went with the 15. And when I went with the 15th is when I had to Dremel this out. Now 17 did fit, but it was making weird noises. I didn't like the way it sounded, so I went with the 15. Obviously something was wrong with that pinion, or it was just a bad 32 point pinion. I don't know, but yeah. So it's really not that difficult. You gotta drill through obviously to the chassis. This is I just lost that nut. Great. This is an aluminum chassis that I fabricated, but obviously you'll be going into plastic. It won't hurt anything. It won't affect anything. Neither removing that honeycomb won't affect anything. And trust me, with this repair, if any of you have had this, you're going through the same thing. You gotta be. There's no way. This is my second center diff setup. I thought maybe it was something wrong with the first one. It's not. It's just the fact that there's 25 millimeters of slack here, and yeah, I mean, it's just not a great setup. You know, obviously this is used to be a clutch, and there used to be a nut here with a spring, and you know, and now that you go to the center diff or a clutchless setup, you don't need that long shaft there. But it's just, I mean, it was flopping around everywhere. And I tried everything. I tried to put a collar on here. I tried to put a spring inside the diff cup to try to, give up some of the slack, maybe put some tension on it. I tried to put a metal shaft over this in order to try to stiffen it up. It really is the fact that the center diff is so small and so thin that the drive shaft that connects to that pinion gear inside just doesn't have a lot of meat to stiffen it up, to stabilize it. So it wobbles around, and then at high RPMs you're gonna get a lot of wobble. I was gonna put the center drive shaft, the original drive shaft, back in, thinking that maybe that would rectify the situation a little bit. This is 4S running with a 2600 kV motor. I don't know how long the original drive shaft would have lasted. It might have lasted forever. I don't know. But I did want to take the chance of breaking it and then breaking other things in here, especially at those speeds and those RPM ranges there. But I'll tell you, man, this repair is perfect. I've already ran it 3 times with this setup, and twice with these tires, and the thing is just a bear. I mean, I can't believe the performance that I got in just changing or just putting this in. There must have been just so much vibration that it really just inhibited this thing for going to its full potential. I have not put a speed run. I should have done a speed run before and after, but I did not. But as you can see, I mean, this thing is just about stable as you're going to get. This thing doesn't move at all. Obviously, if you make this cut, as tight as it can be, this thing really has no room to flex. There's no glue, there's no epoxy, there's no nothing in there. I mean, I'm sure you could do something if you were really concerned about it. I just like the fact that this is removable if I ever need to take it off. And obviously, if you ever needed to get this drive shaft off, pop the bearing and everything out in one shot, and just leave the bearing on this diff cup. It makes it a lot easier to move things around. But I just can't get over the performance, the increased performance that this caused. But you can see, I mean, this thing is just smooth. And I was having so many issues before. I mean, it was smacking the motor. It was just scarring the, I don't know if is this the one? Yeah. So here's a scar from where it did hit at one point. So I mean, it was moving around quite a bit, and that's just not cool. So this did take care of it. So again, this is a ZD Racing center diff support. They're like $2. AliExpress has them, eBay has them. I'm sure you can find some somewhere. And like I said, they're very inexpensive. The bearing was actually the old bearing from the original setup. So whatever's in this setup fits in here. So you don't have to go looking for other things. And yeah, so that's it. So there'll be other videos with other repairs. I didn't do much on the Slash as far as anything else. I mean, this is the only big problem I've had. Like I said, I did the aluminum chassis, but and I used the high center of gravity battery hold down so I can get this range out of here. I know they make a bigger battery hold down for this, but I just made this one fit and it works well. But other than that, this thing is bone stock. I haven't done anything else to it. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or concerns, or if you want to know where to get one of those, I mean, I'll tell you, if you're worried about dremeling out this, don't. The first time you take it out with this thing in, you'll be so happy you did this. It really, really does add to just the well-being of this vehicle. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I have many other ones with other little hacks and mods that I did to other vehicles, and yeah, so you guys have a good night, and we will talk soon. Take care.